Hello, dear viewers. Today we will embark on an exciting journey through the pages of ancient Egyptian history to learn about the great rulers who left an indelible mark on the world. Discover the secrets of their greatness and find out how they changed the course of history. Don't miss this captivating dive into the times of the great pharaohs. Let's start with the most famous pharaoh, Tutankhamun. Despite his short reign, the discovery of his tomb in 1922 brought him immortal fame. Tutankhamun's tomb became a sensation as it contained priceless treasures and artifacts that shed light on the lives and beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. Inside the tomb, the golden mask of the pharaoh, adorned with precious stones, and many household items that demonstrate the high level of craftsmanship of Egyptian artisans, were found. Another outstanding ruler was Ramses II, also known as Ramses the Great. He ruled Egypt for over 60 years and is considered one of the most powerful pharaohs. Ramses II left behind many monuments and temples, including the Great Temple of Abu Simbel, carved directly into the rock and dedicated to his beloved wife, Nefertari, and himself. Ramses II also led successful military campaigns, including the Battle of Kadesh, where he concluded the first recorded peace treaty with the Hittites. Hatshepsut, one of the few female pharaohs, left a significant mark on Egyptian history. She ruled for over 20 years and was known for her wisdom and diplomatic skills. Hatshepsut erected many magnificent structures, including the famous temple at Deir el-Bahri, which astonishes with its beauty and grandeur. Under her rule, Egypt prospered, and important trade routes with neighboring countries were established. Amenhotep III also deserves attention as one of the greatest pharaohs. His reign was marked by peace and prosperity, and he is known for his grand construction projects. The Colossi of Memnon, two giant statues guarding his mortuary temple, are a vivid testament to his greatness. Amenhotep III also strengthened diplomatic ties with other powers, which contributed to Egypt's prosperity. Now let's move on to one of the most enigmatic pharaohs, Akhenaten. He is known for his religious reform, during which he introduced the cult of a single god, Aten, radically changing Egyptian religion. Akhenaten built a new capital, Akhetaten, modern-day Amarna, and became the first pharaoh depicted in a naturalistic rather than idealized form. His reign marked a period of great changes in Egyptian art and culture. Nefertiti, the wife of Akhenaten, also played a significant role in Egypt's history. Her legendary beauty and political influence made her one of the most famous women of the ancient world. The bust of Nefertiti, found in Amarna, became a symbol of femininity and beauty for many centuries. Nefertiti's influence on the art and religion of the time was immense. Another outstanding pharaoh was Thutmose III, a talented military commander and conqueror who expanded Egypt's borders to unprecedented extents. Thutmose III conducted 17 successful military campaigns, the most famous being the Battle of Megiddo, where he defeated a coalition of Syrian princes. Under his rule, Egypt reached the peak of its power and glory, earning him the title of the Napoleon of ancient Egypt. Menkaure, also known as Mycerinus, was a builder of the pyramids at Giza. His pyramid, though smaller compared to those of Khufu and Khafre, stands out for its elegance and architectural harmony. Menkaure was renowned for his fairness and kindness, as evidenced by ancient inscriptions. Khufu, or Cheops, was the pharaoh credited with building the largest pyramid at Giza, the Great Pyramid. This colossal structure remains one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world and continues to amaze with its grandeur. The construction of Khufu's pyramid was an incredible engineering feat, requiring the coordination of a vast number of people and resources. Moving to a later period, we encounter Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of Ptolemaic Egypt. Her alliances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, along with her tragic death, made her name immortal. Cleopatra was known for her intelligence, political acumen, and unmatched beauty. Her reign marked the end of the pharaoh's era and the beginning of Roman rule in Egypt. We cannot forget Pepi Sent, who ruled Egypt for an astonishing 94 years. His long reign ensured stability and prosperity, although internal conflicts and a weakening central authority emerged towards the end of his rule. Pepi II was known for his wisdom and ability to govern the country for such an extended period. Each of these rulers contributed uniquely to Egypt's greatness, leaving a legacy that continues to amaze and inspire us. Their reigns were filled with both great achievements and serious challenges. For instance, the construction of the pyramids was an incredible engineering feat that still inspires awe. The Pyramid of Khufu, built from millions of stone blocks, became a symbol not only of architectural genius, but also of the power of ancient Egypt. Cleopatra, using her intellect and political skills, tried to maintain Egypt's independence during Roman conquests, becoming one of the most famous and discussed figures in history. The great rulers of ancient Egypt continue to inspire us with their deeds and accomplishments. Their stories are not only testimonies to the greatness of an ancient civilization, but also sources of valuable lessons for us, modern people. Whether it be their engineering marvels, political wisdom, or military achievements, each of these pharaohs left a unique mark on history that we continue to study and respect. It is important to remember that their legacy lives on today, influencing our culture, art, and science. The monuments they left behind continue to attract millions of tourists and researchers from around the world. The Great Pyramids of Giza, the temples of Luxor and Karnak, the mysterious sphinxes, all these architectural masterpieces are not only testimony to the outstanding engineering skills of the ancient Egyptians, but also a reflection of their spiritual and cultural values. Each of these structures has its own history and symbolic meaning, helping us better understand the worldview and beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. Another striking example is the Temple of Abu Simbel, carved into the rock by order of Ramses II. This temple was built in honor of the pharaoh's victory at the Battle of Kadesh. The enormous statues of Ramses II carved on the facade of the temple symbolize the power and greatness of the pharaoh, while the inner halls of the temple are adorned with bas-reliefs depicting his military exploits and divine origin. Equally impressive is the Temple of Hatshepsut at Deir el-Bahri. This temple, built in honor of one of the most famous female pharaohs, stands out for its elegance and harmony. The bas-reliefs on the walls of the temple depict expeditions to the land of Punt, which brought many exotic goods to Egypt and strengthened trade relations with other countries. The great rulers of ancient Egypt not only left behind impressive architectural and artistic masterpieces, but also made significant contributions to the development of science, medicine, and astronomy. Numerous scientific treatises found in Egyptian tombs and temples testify to the high level of knowledge of the ancient Egyptians in various fields. For example, Egyptian doctors were known for their medical skills and treatment methods, which included the use of various herbs and surgical procedures. Astronomy also played an important role in the life of the ancient Egyptians. They developed complex calendars and time measurement systems based on observations of stars and planets. This knowledge was not only practical, but also had religious significance, as the Egyptians believed that the stars and planets influenced the fate and lives of people. Writing and literature also played an important role in the life of the ancient Egyptians. Egyptian scribes were highly educated people who recorded important events, religious texts, and economic documents. One of the most famous literary works of that time is The Tale of Sinuhe, which tells the story of an Egyptian nobleman who left his homeland and returned after long wanderings. This text is a vivid example of the richness and diversity of Egyptian literature. It is important to remember that the history of the great rulers of ancient Egypt is not only a history of military victories and architectural achievements, but also a history of people striving for greatness and perfection. Their lives were filled with both triumphs and tragedies, and they teach us much about human nature and the pursuit of immortality. Moving on to specific examples, we can see how each of these rulers made their unique contribution to the history of Egypt. For example, Thutmose III not only expanded the borders of his empire, but also established an effective system of governing the conquered territories, which contributed to the stability and prosperity of the state. Akhenaten, despite his controversial religious reform, left a deep mark on the history of Egypt. His attempt to introduce the cult of the one god Aten was a bold step that caused significant changes in the religious and cultural life of the country. Although Egypt returned to traditional gods after his death, Akhenaten's influence on the art and culture of that time was significant. The influence of the great pharaohs can also be seen in art and literature. Their reigns inspired artists and scribes to create magnificent works that still evoke admiration. The frescoes, sculptures, and literary texts created during their reigns are not only artistic masterpieces, but also important historical documents. The lives and deeds of the great rulers of ancient Egypt also influenced the religious and philosophical views of subsequent generations. Their quest for immortality and the search for the meaning of life were reflected in religious texts and philosophical teachings, which continued to develop over many centuries. We must not forget that the great rulers of ancient Egypt were not only powerful warriors and wise leaders, but also people with their weaknesses and passions. Their personal stories are full of dramatic events and intrigues, making them even more interesting and human. For example, the love story of Cleopatra and Mark Antony remains one of the most famous and romantic in history. Their union, despite political instability and external threats, showed the strength and determination of two people ready to fight for their love and for their country. Their tragic fate, ending in the death of both, embodies the eternal theme of love and sacrifice. Another example of personal drama is the reign of Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti. Their joint efforts to introduce the cult of Aten caused discontent among the priests and the population, leading to internal conflicts. Despite this, their devotion to their beliefs and to each other inspired many and left a significant mark on the history of Egypt. Thutmose III, known as the Napoleon of ancient Egypt, was not only an outstanding military leader, but also a man striving for the cultural and scientific development of his country. His desire to unite the conquered territories and establish peaceful relations with neighboring states testifies to his foresight and strategic thinking. Menkaure, the builder of the third and smallest pyramid at Giza, is known for his kindness and fairness. Stories of his reign often mention his care for his subjects and his desire to ensure fair justice. This aspect of his personality sets him apart from other pharaohs and emphasizes the importance of human qualities in governing a state. Ramses II, in addition to his military and construction achievements, was known for his large family. He had many wives and children, and sought to provide his heirs with education and preparation for governing the country. His family life is also an important part of his legacy, showing how personal relationships and family values influenced the political and social life of Egypt. The lives of the great pharaohs of ancient Egypt are full of lessons and examples that can be useful to us today. Their wisdom, strength, and striving for perfection inspire us to achieve great goals and overcome difficulties. Their legacy continues to live in our hearts and minds, reminding us of the greatness of the human spirit and its capacity for great achievements. It is important to remember that the history of the great rulers of ancient Egypt is not only about their personal achievements, but also the contributions of many people who assisted them in their reigns. Architects, artists, scribes, warriors, and ordinary citizens all played important roles in creating this great civilization. Their work and dedication also deserve our respect and recognition. The stories of the great rulers of ancient Egypt also teach us the value of cultural heritage and the need for its preservation. The monuments and artifacts left by the pharaohs are invaluable testimonies to our shared history and cultural development. Their preservation and study help us better understand our past and draw lessons for the future. Concluding our journey through the pages of the history of ancient Egypt, we see how the lives and deeds of the great pharaohs continue to inspire us. Their quest for greatness, their wisdom, and their strength of spirit are eternal examples for us. May their stories continue to inspire us to new achievements and remind us that the human spirit is capable of great deeds. Thank you for joining our journey through the history of the great rulers of ancient Egypt. We hope you found it interesting to learn about the lives and deeds of these remarkable individuals. Subscribe to our channel, give us a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. See you again in the world of history.